You've got to remember, one of the reasons why Consett closed was lack of demand. One of the factors. So even a year before, there was still a lack of demand. So the strike cut down on production. So there was no demand for steel. So the period of time when we were on strike, nobody wanted steel anyway, because the demand, they were trying to cut the demand. So British Steel weren't worried about losing money because there was no demand for it. So that 3 months gave them, well, they didn't loss, they didn't make a loss. And you ask anybody, I said this weeks ago, when did we go back to work? It was the first week of the financial year in April. So they got all the wages off the books the previous year and started afresh on April the 3rd.
So you cannot really take the closure in September in isolation. You're kind of putting it in perspective in terms of the impact of the 13-week strike. And that kind of point as well, and extent it sort of from that is the feeling, rightly or wrongly, with is that there wasn't a great deal of support within the town. Did many people, for example, march through the town? When you've seen the photographs of people marching through the town.
They used to be at Bellevue football field.
There was a meeting there, yeah.
And we walked from Bellevue. They had some political leaders came. I'm not sure who. But
there was a walk where we walked from Consett back down to Jarrah, and Michael Foote was at Jarrah to meet us when we marched from Consett down to Jarrah. But that was after the closure, but it was still a protest of what had happened to Consett. Giles Radici, David Watkins, and a lot of the heads of the council, local dignitaries.
Skinner was there.
Dennis Skinner was there.
Drop of a hat.
But we walked, it was quite a long walk from Consett to Jarrah. Very foot weary, few blisters. But it was a protest in the way that Consett had been treated after the closure, rather than trying to save the closure, because the main rally was going down to Downing Street and the Houses of Parliament, where you had Dennis Skinner met the
As I said
workers.
last week, Callaghan and Healy, they stood on the platform on the first group who got into one of the big halls. But they weren't there. Once it spoke to that group, they went. They thought, oh, there's no more. There was another load of protesters to come in, where they'd left the stage then. So it's probably the likes of Skinner and the likes of them. And my Tony Bland, he was an idiot. He was another one who turned around and says, take the plant over. I'm thinking, you're a guy who's never worked in your ruddy life, telling us what we should be doing. Lord Stansgate, the work is right. Who's he trying to kid? I resent all them Labour people that spoke for Labour, for me, and half of them hadn't worked in their lives. You're not a working man. Cunningham, what was he? Wait, what was Callaghan and Healy? We represent the working man, but you've never worked. And today it's even worse. I don't think there's anybody in the Labour cabinet. No, sorry. You've got Alan Johnson, he was a postman. You had Prescott, he was a steward on his ship. I'm about the workers, the ones who grafted in the steelworks, the big heavy industry and the likes of that. And all the fallout, the chemists and all that type of thing. And we've got these people, politicians. I couldn't tie two bits of string with them. And they're supposed to. I'm not talking about the Tories. I'm talking about Labour. They don't represent us. They represent themselves. We found that out, the last lot. But back then as well, there was a lot of them. You're a solicitor. You're a barrister. You were an ex-school teacher. And I'm thinking, you've never worked, man.
Do you think, on reflection, when you look at all the things that we did, do you think we got anything for it? Or do you think they were just talk and gestures?
I think we've got a decent pay compared to other industries. Consett got more redundancy than a lot of other places. But whether that was because of our protests or because of where we were, and it wasn't a phenomenal amount, but compared to other steel plants, they said that Consett got the best redundancy.
The point I'm trying to make, I suppose, is do you collectively feel there was enough done to save the works? That's really.
I think you had the conveners, and you had John Lees, the Kenny Sesfords, the Arthur Carter. They did have, the joint unions did have a united front. They did the best they possibly could under the circumstances, and I don't think they could have done any more. The writing was on the wall, and they had to make the best of it. The government at the time was hell bent that the Consett was going to close, and then that was it. But they tried all avenues, and a lot of the union men who were in the steelworks were also local councillors, and they were trying from that side as well. So it was like a two-pronged approach. It wasn't just from the trade union side; it was also from the local authority, which was going to be devastated because of what's happening. The biggest revenue income from within the community, that money was lost. They didn't want to see it go. They knew the consequences and what would happen within the town.